I just finished watching every pre-fight press conference and media day interview before UFC Saudi Arabia this weekend, and while they didn't go through nearly all of the fighters like they normally do, there was only actually 2 fighters that I thought had a little bit of decent takeaways. So probably going to be a quick video. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Guys, we make these videos as kind of a recap, and on top of that, if you don't want to watch all the media day interviews because the translation is a little bit like it makes the videos really long and tedious to go through because sometimes they go through like 2 languages to get to somebody just to hear it in English. But I watch these through my work day, and if you want to get to know like the fighters and how they are right now in their headspace, either that, if you want to look at it from a betting perspective, if you want to look at the fighters and kind of go, okay, you know what, they may not be really having a great weight cut right now, anything along those lines. Regardless, way too long of an intro. Apologies for that. Let's start off by talking about Israel Adesanya. If you guys have been following the channel, you might know that, and it's not just my opinion, it's not like I had this groundbreaking thought over here. Israel Adesanya, a lot of us worry about his motivation at this point in his career, and honestly, it is a little bit reflective in his press conference of what people have been speculating about. Like, he doesn't have the drive, he doesn't have the motivation, he's made his money, he's had his titles, right? He seems to just not care anymore. He usually, I don't want to say he has like an edge to him where he's like excited to knock somebody out. He's coming in, he's like, I'm going to show everybody who Israel Adesanya is. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do my thing. He seemed to actually just not care at the press conference either. It's not like he had a bad attitude or anything. It was just like, he was chilling. He was talking to people. Something that does make me worry about Israel Adesanya, though, is the way you could look at this, to be honest with you, is he is having some built-in excuses right now, because he said on multiple occasions about like that quote that you've seen floating around over on Twitter, Instagram, and all those places, I could lose my next 10 fights. My legacy's still intact. It doesn't matter if I lose anymore. That could be looked at as a little bit of a built-in excuse for when you lose, and then people are just going to go like, Israel Adesanya wasn't motivated. Contender Izzy's no longer around, which, I mean, there is a little bit of merit to what he's saying, but at the same time, this does more seem like a little bit of a built-in excuse, but that's not all that Israel Adesanya said for it. He started going on about how he's not doing this. He's not doing this for anybody but him. He's just coming in to show that he can still compete with the best of the best. It's all for me. And you know what the same vibes I got from it was? It's when you ever talk to one of those girls and they're like, oh, I'm just posting this picture of my ass just for myself. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I'm doing this for me. I am showing off this picture just for me. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks because, again, I'm doing this for me. It had that exact same energy because Adesanya, again, on multiple occasions was like, doesn't matter if I lose my next 10 fights. My legacy's still intact. I'm here. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me. Had that exact same energy where you'd be like, no, shut up. If you weren't doing this for you, then your photos would stay inside your camera roll, idiot. You know, something along those lines. I got that same energy, and it's not necessarily a good energy. The other thing that was weird about what Adesanya said is he mentioned that he makes it seem like he can't wrestle, but he can. A little bit weird, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that one. Maybe he's a little insecure about his wrestling game, because we got to think about like Israel Adesanya, insecure person. As great of a fighter as he is, and I always talk about with John Jones, right? I don't understand how these UFC champions can go around and at the same time, like, be at the status they are. They can wipe the floor with pretty well anybody on this planet, and they are so insecure. I think that he's a little bit worried about Nasruddin Imavov taking him down, but the overall vibe that I got from Adesanya is I do believe that his head isn't necessarily in the game anymore. He's fighting for probably money. He is having some built-in excuses. I just don't like how calm he appears to be, man. Like, and I know typically when people come in, like someone we're going to talk about, when people come in and they're calm, they're in the moment, like usually that's a good thing. But Adesanya had so much success in his career, having that edge, looking motivated. He just looks happy, you know, and I'm happy for him that he's happy, but it's not the same Adesanya that we're necessarily used to seeing, and that's worrying. And I do believe that he is missing that same motivation right now. I don't know if we're going to be able to see Contender Izzy. But other than that, guys, the only other fighter that I wanted to touch on was Michael Page. And I always forget every single time because I like Michael Page, but I never actually like pay too much attention to him. And with the antics that he brings into the octagon, with the energetic way he performs, he's on the mic, he's throwing the Pokeballs, all that type of stuff, I always forget how well-spoken he is. So he sits down and he's having like, he just sounds like supremely like confident. He's supremely intelligent. But regardless, like, it really makes me think that Michael Page is doing everything necessary in order to get the win. he was talking about how great Shara Bullet is, what he does great, and he is very confident in his striking. He called himself confusing. He thinks that he's just going to be a better striker than Shara Bullet Magomedov in general. He thinks that he is, again, the word that he used was confusing, which I found very interesting because he is a very confusing fighter. He is oh so confident. He is supremely confident in himself, Michael Page, and he is very calm when saying this, and calm is a good thing, unlike Israel Adesanya in this case, because he seemed to have done all the preparations. He looks good right now, not having to cut weight, and the only other thing is he mentioned that he has been training very, very hard with the Ian Gary fight too, and it kind of showed because there was a lot of that, like there wasn't a lot of action there. It was kind of neutralized, so I like the fact that he is not only working on his striking, he's working very hard on his BJJ. He wants to be a champion. He is still very confident in himself that he'll not only get this win, but he will move on to get the welterweight belt after that. And then if you're interested, this is likely going to be his only fight at 185. He's not shutting the door, but his goal is to become the welterweight champion. He thinks that he can get there. And by the way he's speaking about how he's taking his career and his preparations, I am feeling very good about Michael Page right now. How are you feeling about the fighters, though? If you're interested in what I think about the fighters, then you can check out the full card breakdown right here, guys. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.